My Atlanta Falcons are 6-3 on the season now after they beat the Dallas Cowboys. Now they get to fly down to New Orleans to take on the Saints in the Superdome. It's going to be a great matchup. My name's Tyler. Here's my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down this Week 10 Falcons versus Saints matchup. But before we get into that, Ryan and I, we cannot believe that we're saying this, but we are 200 subscribers away from 5,000 total for the channel. Thank you to all the new members to get us so close to this goal. And I say, let's see if we can get to 5,000 for this Week 10 prediction videos that we have going out right now. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think will win this game and why. Ryan, before we get into the game here, Chris Olave, hope you are doing okay. Everybody saw the hit, and our thoughts and prayers are with you to get better as quickly as possible. With that being said, that it's not meaning to segue into that, but I think we saw today as well with the Saints loss against the Carolina Panthers is how decimated they are in the injury room when the Panthers team. Now, of course, it was a road matchup against a division rival, yes, who was looking to bounce back from the last time you guys played them, which was in Week 1, but it's a fully healthy Saints team. There's no reason why that game should have even been close against the Panthers team. And losing a guy like Olave that early on in the game, I think, had a big impact. And so I think that just moving forward, very curious just overall on what is going to be happening kind of within the Saints throughout the rest of the season and even to getting into the offseason, because one of the things we've talked about with them has just been kind of stuck in that level like mediocrity. But maybe we can start seeing some changes here too as we start looking like 2025. But Derek Carr came back in the game. They are starting to get a little bit healthier in other areas. Guys like Eric McCoy, and maybe I'm blanking on it right now if he did come back or is on his way of coming back, and other offensive linemen as well. But on the flip side, though, the Falcons, Drake London did leave the game as well when it came to injuries with a hip pointer, but hopefully he'll be back for this game as well. But in general, though, team's looking really good, playing more consistent football, I think. Grady Jarrett did also go down with an Achilles strain, so that's something to monitor as well. But I want to throw it over to you here. Obviously, as you can tell who I'm rooting for in this game. But what do you think kind of the Falcons and also the Saints kind of dealing with these injuries once again?
Yeah, I mean, so starting off with the Falcons, just one of the things I think through the beginning of the year, this offense has been getting off to slow starts, this defense has been getting off to slow starts, and they've been coming back in the second half. And today it felt like they got off to a better start, and then they really put the pressure on the Cowboys to have to keep up. And I think that hopefully becomes a trend going forward. I think that would be good for this Falcons team. They looked really good, and I know Drake London kind of missed the rest of the game with was it a knee injury or was it?
It was a hip pointer. It was a touchdown catch, and he just kind of landed on his hip. That's kind of what it was.
But it didn't look like a severe thing. It just kind of looked like maybe a hip bruise or like something like something that could go away in a week. So other than that, Bijan Robinson looks fantastic. Kyle Pitts is improving as the games go on with Kirk Cousins as well. So I think this Falcons team is heading in the right direction, and I think to kind of segue into the Saints, I think that's kind of the opposite for them. I think they're going in the wrong direction. And yes, it is due to injury for the most part. But all in all, I do think that this team as a whole is just not quite. I think that it would have caught up to them eventually, anyways, if they didn't have all the injuries. Because I do think from a talent level, they're just not quite as good. But even then, they're still so banged up that it's just going to be so hard for them to compete with any of these other teams. Just because, I mean, their top 2 or 3 receivers are now probably out for the rest of the season, if not. Like maybe Chris Olave comes back later in the year, but you got to think second concussion in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
And he got evaluated for a concussion during the Chargers game. So he came back in, but once again, like another.
Yeah, and so you got to think he's going to miss. He's going to go on IR at least for a concussion and miss at least 4 weeks. So
maybe potentially. Let's not be too definitive. We'll see if he comes back, but potentially though.
Yeah. Usually, you see guys after the second concussion in a season, they do miss a longer period of time. So, and then Rashid Shaheed's already out. So this Saints team is just so banged up. It's not even really fair to give them a full assessment because they just haven't been able to. Since week 2, they haven't had a full healthy lineup.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, even to, like, so the Falcons and Saints, they played in week 4, and even then, like, they were healthier. It's like maybe they started to have a little bit of the offensive line issues. I'm trying to remember now exactly, but Saints honestly should have won that game against us. They a couple of errors on the Saints end with the muff punt that ended up in the end zone for a touchdown. That we had a pick 6. Those were our only 2 offensive touchdowns in that game. So, but their defense is also banged up as well, like with Paulson and Debo. Breaking his leg as well. Marshawn Lattimore's been in and out of the lineup as well, and a couple other injuries. You kind of in their front 7, and at the same time too, I think that's at a point where the Falcons' offense was still trying to figure out their identity, and I think they're playing a lot more consistent football overall. But I'll get back to that point in a second though. For the Saints' offense though, going up against this Falcons defense. The thing that concerns me is I look at the stat sheet today, and it was a heavy dose of Alvin Kamara, and we saw Taysom Hill be utilized a little bit, and for some reason against Atlanta, Taysom Hill is just absolute kryptonite for some reason. We got lucky too, also in that Week 4 game. That's when Taysom Hill broke his rib, and so he didn't play in the second half, which kind of stopped a lot of their offense. So that's going to be the concern for me when it comes to this game is if Grady Jarrett's not able to go because he's got an Achilles strain, and that's pretty serious too. They have to kind of monitor his overall status because a strain can easily turn into a tear. And if this offensive line is getting healthier for the Saints, is our defensive line, which is our Achilles heel, no pun intended, for this entire team, can we somehow stop Alvin Kamara? Can we stop Taysom Hill? Because for whatever reason, they seem to have big games against us. And Alvin Kamara is one of the better running backs in the league, to be fair. I guess I mean that more for Taysom Hill. But how can we slow down this running game? Because I don't think they're going to be able to pass the ball against us. It's going to be almost something similar against like how Tampa Bay played against us, where it's going to be a lot of check downs, a lot of throws to their tight ends in Juwan Johnson or Taysom Hill also in that aspect. But even, too, if you go look at today's stats, Chris Olave, he had the 1 catch, yes. But when it comes to receivers, Cedric Wilson had 2 catches. Jordan Mims had a catch. And actually, I think Jordan Mims is a running back. Let me double-check this here. Actually, yeah, he's a running back even. So I take that back. Foster Moreau is a tight end as well. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he had 1 catch. Actually, receivers only had – like wide receivers only had 3 catches today. 4 catches today if you include Chris Olave's. So I'm just curious too. Then as well with their top guys going out, like they're really going to have to rely on Alvin Kamara. But can we stop them? Because for some reason, even to like against Tampa Bay, like we couldn't contain their running backs and their tight end, and we knew that's the only guys they could throw to. So it's kind of like a round 2 of the same thing against Tampa Bay. But on the flip side, though, I feel much more confident kind of with our offense and our style of play kind of going into this game. I know it's going to be a road matchup. It's going to be tough. But Kirk Cousins seems to be doing well. I do want Drake London to come back. I'll feel more confident because you could kind of tell that we lost a little bit of dynamicness in our offense with London out on the field, not on the field. I think we benefited from just a really poor Dallas Cowboys defense and banged up Dallas Cowboys defense also. So, but if London comes back, and then you have the emergence of Pitts and his relationship with Kirk Cousins, Darnell Mooney's playing really well. Ray McLeod is good for a sneaky couple of catches in each game, and Bijan is playing a lot better now. And you have the bowling ball and Tyler Algier. I just think all those weapons put together, I think over 60 minutes can take care of the Saints defense. It's just can our defensive line and our defensive setup, our defensive coordinator figure out a game plan just to fully eliminate the Saints offense, especially if they have no weapons. And I'm assuming Chris Olave is not going to be playing in this game.
Yeah. And that's like, just to kind of get into predictions here, I'm going with the Falcons also. Like they're just the better team. They're so much healthier. Even with like the Drake London and Grady Jarrett injury, they are 10 times healthier than the Saints right now. And I just think they're gonna be dominant. They have begun to start faster, and I think that's just going to continue into this game against the Saints. I think they're going to do a really good job here, and I like them to take this one.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of go with Atlanta. Well, not kind of go. I am going to go with Atlanta. I think I was probably going to do that anyways. But it does feel like we got off to a little bit of just a more balanced start overall, even on the defensive side of the ball too. Even the Cowboys' touchdown in the first half was just an absolute wild touchdown. I thought we were providing good pressure throughout that drive, but Dak Prescott had a good run on third down. It was like a 22-yard run just to gain a first down. But really, we provided good pressure. Same thing then, too, on the goal line touchdown that they scored. We provided good pressure, but then the tip ball just didn't go our way. I thought, in general, just an overall good, balanced game on both sides of the ball. So I just kind of want to see that continued approach also. But this should be a game just with how banged up the Saints have been. We know the style of offense that they're going to play. Alvin Kamara is going to have 45 touches in this game, probably. I'm being hyperbolic, but actually that's possible, especially too if the Saints get a lead and we can't stop the run. But I just think we're just healthier. We're just the better team overall. And I also think too, we're probably the better coach team overall. I wouldn't be surprised if Dennis Allen's starting to play his last couple of games, or starting to coach his last couple of games in New Orleans here as well. Just with the way the whole season's going, you go look at the cap situation with the New Orleans. They're projected right now like negative 80 or something like that in the cap.
Yeah, they're like negative 83 million, which is just insane. And but like I say that they've been there. They've been in that same situation like the past 3 or 4 off seasons. And like I felt like this was the year that they finally just like eat it and reset. And it's like, nope, not even not happening.
We'll have to see. It's just one of those games like you don't want to be a trap game, like where you go on the road to a division rival. Honestly, kind of like the Saints at the Panthers or whatnot. Even though the Saints are much more banged up than what the Falcons are doing right now to the Saints. So, but let's see. Let's go win this game. And big thing too for the Falcons as well. Last division game until Week 18, but we have a lot of big games in between as well. A couple games against some good AFC West teams, a couple big games against some other NFC teams like the Minnesota Vikings and Washington Commanders have some playoff implications as well. So big win here. Let's go to 5-0 on the division and let's pull this one out.
Yeah. So we're both taking the Falcons in this matchup. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the Atlanta Falcons? Will it be the New Orleans Saints? And then we'll see you guys next time.